Exactly. That got a little smaller today.
Well, you're close.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Indiana Success Happy Hour. Brian Quinlan here from Daniels Real Estate.
Brad Nicolas from Nest Mortgage Group.
All right, man. And yet again, we've got another guest. Sir, tell the folks who you are.
I'm Travis Brown, founder and CEO of Mojo Marketing Media.
Excellent. Well, welcome to the show, Travis. Thanks for being here today.
I'm excited to be here. This should be fun.
Long drive?
About 15 minutes right now from Brad.
Excellent.
It's nice to meet you, too. I'm really glad to meet you in person.
Absolutely.
We'll get into that. You know what? I'm starting. So today, thanks to our friends at Sun King, once again, I've got some Sunlight Cream Ale. Travis, you don't know what you have, but it is the Play Hard beer from Sun King that we have on tap back there in the fridge. So have you had that before?
I have not.
All right.
Do you know about Play Hard?
I do not.
Tell them who made Play Hard. Why is that here?
Play Hard is actually designed by Gene Cady, former basketball coach at Purdue.
He's from Lafayette.
There you go. Yeah. So
Let's do it.
we had Kevin Smolar from Sun King on the show, and he said, Gene Cady said, I'm 90 years old. I feel like I need to have my own beer. And he said, my favorite beer is Coors Light. So let's make something like that. And boom, Play Hard. There it is. And there's a little caricature of Gene on the can. It's pretty funny. So
Where's the product placement for the can?
It's a keg.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
It's
okay.
a keg.
It
Yeah.
is. We've had it on the show multiple times. So I'm sure the 116 people who are watching, they know. They've seen it.
I bet our production team and editing, I bet they can actually flash that can up there.
I bet I can.
Yep.
Let's flash the can.
Just don't flash your can.
Sunlight Cream Ale voted the best beverage from the state of Indiana.
That's what I thought I was getting.
Well, I
sorry.
apologize. You are not. I'm a little bit of a selfish a-hole. I bring like one for myself and then let the rest have the keg. So here we are.
You know the difference between you and him, though? You like it in the keg. Brian likes it in the can.
What's in your bottle?
What's in my bottle? Tequila in my bottle. Again, we're filming this today on National Tequila Day, even though we said that on the
Celebrate
last one.
accordingly.
Montagave. Montegave's made at NAM 1123 Cascaween in the town of Erenel.
Oh, I'm familiar with Cascaween.
Cascaween is fantastic, and they did something that's never been done before. They got a gigantic concrete egg. Like you would see the concrete egg that you cook in, the big green egg.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
This thing, I forget how big it is. They probably say on the bottle somewhere, but it held a whole bunch of tequila, and they let it ferment
Whole bunch.
in a giant concrete egg.
Huh.
And Montagave is doing a lot of great things. It's a really special tequila, actually. It is also high proof at 90 proof, but it drinks like a regular tequila, and it has that very wet concrete minerality with the cooked agave.
Who doesn't like drinking wet
That's what we're
concrete?
talking about right now.
Neither do I. And I've been here
Okay.
for 90 whatever
Smell that.
episodes. I have no idea.
Tell me, when you smell the rain in Florida on a hot day, and the rain comes up off the sidewalk.
This
and,
smells like a few nights I've had, that didn't go so well.
yeah, you can actually smell that side. It's called petrichor. Is the
smells like
name of that smell. Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Cheers, my
Cheers
friend.
to you.
Trav, thanks
Cheers
for being
over
here,
here.
my friend. Cheers.
All right. So, Travis, you and Brad have a long history together. How far back are we talking? Ish.
Well, if we go far enough back, before all this was here, I was sleeping on Brad's couch.
Oh, okay.
When I was young, never been married, whippersnapper, just hungry to learn and, feisty to go become successful at something in life. And Brad happened to be a mentor of mine in the mortgage business.
Okay.
I was driving from Lafayette up here, and so a couple nights
Wow.
a week, I would come all the way out here and stay. Had no idea where I was in the world.
Most people, when they get here in McCordsville, don't
5
know.
years ago, and his kids were still here. Tony was still here, and
Tony's still here.
She's still here.
Yeah, she's
The kids are
inside.
gone.
I was learning so much. I'd stay, and he let me sleep on the couch, and
He's accommodating like that.
it probably was really Tony that happened.
Yeah.
but that's how far back we go.
Okay. Did you ever attend any of the bike races that they would go to?
You know what? We actually did not. I did not. We were friends, business relationship, all that stuff, and then I moved back on
Okay.
our separate ways. And
Yeah, he was pre-motocross race.
No.
Yeah,
wow.
Blake was little.
Ah,
Yeah, that was.
Yep.
okay.
My kids aren't a whole. I mean, you said today you are
49 years old.
49 years old. So, Brittany is 36.
Okay.
Right. So when he was hanging out really young,
Yeah.
right, my kids were really, really young.
Yeah, no
right?
kidding.
So he was Blake didn't start racing until he was 8 years old. So that kind of goes back to how old.
All right.
That's a long time ago.
Cool.
So that's how long.
All right. So you did the mortgage business for a while.
Yep.
And
He killed it in the mortgage business.
Oh, okay. Well, what made you get out of the mortgage business if you were killing it?
Well, I did the mortgage business. Then I started my own company. Sold my own company. Went to work for a time with Ace Mortgage Funding. They were the largest broker in the country. Was a VP for them for years. It's a crazy story is we used to do a bunch of sales training back then because that model had like 15 to 30 loan officers all the time, training them, develop them. And that's really the part I loved. I love to train and develop, go through all that. So we go with my group of my loan officers to a MI training.
Okay.
And there was this trainer up there. He was trying to get people to role play. He'd bring them up on stage and he basically was trying to embarrass them if they didn't know what they were doing and kind of show them that they needed his ability. So my people are looking at me like, dude, you got to go. I'm like,
Dude.
I'm not going up there, kind of like that thing. And now your people are there. They're like, oh, well, you can't do it. So then I go up.
You can't do it.
Sales trainer guy kind of tries. I shut him all down. And it really was at that moment, I'm like, I can do that.
Oh, all right.
Which is really what I want to do, is become a speaker.
Oh.
And I used the training and development to kind of perpetuate that. And that was kind of that moment that set me on the edge, like, I can do that thing. And the truth is, I think everybody needs that moment at some point in time in their life where you want to do something, but you don't even believe yourself that you can. And then something happens and it's like, well, shit, I can actually do that. And that's what it was for me back then. And that launched me into leaving the mortgage business, started my own training consulting company. And
Okay.
now I'm 3,500 plus paid
Wow.
talks later in that side of the business.
Thank God for 2008.
Well, that was actually like 2007. I got out.
You got out before.
Everybody made all their money.
But also you got out and the possibility of going back went away. That's why I say that. Like if you had a thought of I still can keep my foot in the mortgage business, but you couldn't. 2008 removed that foot. 2008 changed everything. Ace sold, everything got really funky and different. And you would make a decision to do something. And I think those decisions are made easier when your bridge is burnt down.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if it hadn't been, I would have probably just tried to stick it out, let the money dictate where you were.
Yeah.
Versus I made a decision at that time in my life. And, honestly, it was a lot of the things that I had done all of my life built up to a point where now I got to go speak and chase a dream that I'd always wanted to chase. And did it professionally for, 8, 9, almost 10 years.
So at that point, you started your own speaker business?
Yeah.
How do you start something like that? How the hell does anyone know, I want to hire this guy to come talk?
Well, I started out working through a third-party training company.
Okay.
And I started doing all the training. I just took everything that they would give you, and they didn't pay hardly anything. But they flew you across the country. They paid for everything. I kind of learned on their dime. And the truth is, I tell young people all the time, it's like, everybody wants to go start their own business. I'm like, go learn on somebody else's dime. Go make all of your mistakes and your failures. Let somebody else pay for your training development, your education, your real education. Like, go do that on somebody else's dime. And I did that for a training company. And then finally met a coach, stepped out, and then decided that, all right, now's the time to do it on my own.
Okay.
And what were you mostly speaking of when you went on your own?
So I went through a phase of training. So think about going into a company and teaching management, leadership, conflict management strategies, like that kind of thing. Going to real estate offices, sales training. And then I went through like a 5-year, what I call passion project, where I became the number one booked anti-bullying speaker in the country.
Okay.
And I mean, one year I did 300 talks.
Wow.
In an entire year, and then became a consultant to school districts. That was kind of a fun phase. I met my current wife. It was just a whole different phase of life when you felt like you were tied to passion and purpose, helping young people overcome challenges, fears in a very tough time. And that was in that 2010 to 2014 timetable. Before it was, right. It's kind of like in the peak.
Yeah.
And so it was a great time.
So there's a chance you and I have crossed paths.
Yeah.
As I taught at Middle School Central back.
Andy was a bully.
Starting in 2009.
Not.
Yeah, exactly. 2009 through 2020, I taught at Middle School Central down in Center Grove. So I know we've had people come in and talk about, anti-bullying. So there's definitely a good chance you spoke at the school.
Yeah, I spoke at the high school and the middle schools back then. A bunch of schools in that Greenwood area.
Yeah.
Honestly, over the years, I probably spoke outside the state of Indiana more than inside.
Really?
But kind of a fun fact: when I was testing this, like, is this really a thing? I met my wife, who was a counselor, and she was like, "You need to talk about bullying." Like, I don't know anything about bullying. Like, what? Like, hit a kid in the mouth?
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know. Like, what do you like? Like, that was my mindset. She's like, "No," and she started breaking down all the challenges and the psychological barriers and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay. What I really was a leadership speaker. I talked about leadership. Like, my coach though had taught me this concept that said, take what they need and wrap it in what they want.
Mm. Good.
And I'm like, oh, so I did this whole test phase of like leaders taking a stand against bullying. I felt like I was true to what I wanted to talk about to solve a problem. And at that time, I thought, well, let me just do a test phase. If I could do 30 talks in like 30 days, I'm like, 30 for 30. I'm like, that's good. I did 60 and 60 and I thought, okay, this is a real thing. Not only am I good at it, not only can it be something I get paid at, but I can also make a difference. And so that's why I spent so many years in that space.
Nice.
So I know you're pretty humble and you probably won't talk about all the really cool things you did when you did that. So who's the coolest person you met while you were traveling around doing your talking about bullying?
I think there are two that jump out of my head. One, and you find this picture, it's really cool. One was Nicolas Cage.
Wow, I didn't know that one.
So, funny story. I go to Vegas in July to speak outside at an anti-bullying event.
Good grief. Million degrees.
Oh yeah. And so I'm out there, and a lot of times what happened was I would be the content expert, and then they'd attach a celebrity for a draw or for something like that.
okay.
What I was talking about. So we go out. It's outside, and I'm out there sweating. And Nicolas Cage comes up, and it's 100+ degrees, right? Black leather jacket.
Yeah, 3 coats.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly how you would expect him to be. Black leather jacket, like just the coolest image of Nicolas Cage that you would ever imagine, right? I remember looking at him and like, dude, like, I got to talk to everybody.
Aren't you hot?
I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you in a jacket? He's like, well, I got these tattoos and I just didn't want the kids to see it and send the wrong message. Now, this is, 2012 or 13, probably, now nobody cares. But like then it was still kind of very conscious. And I'm like, but you're just so cool because you're Nick.
Right.
So that was a very, very cool experience.
Is there you said a cool image. Is there an image of him on the gurney getting put in the ambulance
Yeah,
because
'cause
he
he
passed
overheated.
out?
Yes,
Okay.
there's no way that would happen.
He's cool.
He's the guy that when he was dying of thirst asked for a saltine cracker.
There you go.
No, he was a great guy. Probably the one that actually probably propelled my career the most, though, is I got hired by Jamie Foxx's daughter,
Okay.
which was Corinne Foxx. And so Jamie flew me out there, had his driver for like 3-4 days when I was actually out in LA. I went to speak at Sierra Canyon, which is famous for recently, like LeBron James's kids went there. Real cool basketball program. But back then, not only was Corinne doing some really cool things, she's a famous actress herself now today. But I was doing this leadership training. Well, I spoke to the whole school. Then I did this leadership training. I looked down at the end. And I'm like, girl had a hoodie on. I'm like, hey, what? Like, put your hood down, right? What's your name? She's like, Kendall, and it was Kendall Jenner.
Oh.
And Kylie was at that school, and this is when Bruce was Bruce. And
It's when Bruce was Bruce.
Yeah.
I've seen some pictures. I think he's Bruce again.
that I don't know. No shade at.
Oh, I don't care either. Yeah, yeah.
I'm saying that, like, at that era of time, I'm like, wow, like he was more popular.
Oh, yeah, he was famous.
Oh yeah,
Then-
absolutely.
Who was that? Right.
Right. So like I have this picture with me and Kendall, when she was in high school. Right. So it's really cool. But the coolest part of the story though is so I see Jamie afterwards and we're just walking around. He's touring the school and just a really cool
Hanging out with Jamie Foxx.
And so 2 things happened. So one, I said, Jamie, I met you before back in 1995. I was at the Century Club in LA, wasn't of age, but my buddy from Purdue, a football player, was from there. We went to this club and I met him. And he tells the story at his wedding that I can't find Travis nowhere at the end of the night. At the end of the night, they closed the club down and Travis and Jamie and a couple girls are walking out of this club together. Like And that night was like Wesley Snipes is there, Too Short is there. Like, it was just a real cool experience.
Before Wesley Snipes was sent off to another country to live.
It may have, yeah, definitely before then. That was like New Jack City.
Yeah,
like
okay.
Wesley Snipes, right? And so he always tells that story. Well, it was a real cool moment in my life because I remember that, right? Jamie, he probably don't remember that. But I tell him that story, he's like, "Oh, yeah, that was a Century Club. Like, it's a Sunday night." I said, "You don't really remember?" He's like, "I've only been there 3 times."
Oh, that's awesome.
And that was one of it. I'm like, so I'm having this moment. I'm in a completely different piece of my life with Jamie Foxx talking about that, right? So we're walking around, and I look at Jamie, and I said, "Jamie, I got to do like a little thing with you, right? Just to have." I said, so I just turned my camera on. I'm like, "Hey, this is Mr. Mojo," because that was what my speaking name was back then.
Okay.
"Hey, this is Mr. Mojo. I'm here with my man Jamie Foxx. What's up, Jamie?" And Jamie says, "You know what you need to do? You need to mojo up. It's going down."
Oh.
And the coolest Jamie Foxx voice, right? My PR team at that time takes it, they send it out. CNN picks it up, NBA, CL. I mean, like all these media outlets picked up because it was Jamie Foxx. And I got Jamie Foxx, which Mojo Up is still my marketing company. It was the same mantra we used back then for being a leader, taking a stand, and making a difference. But he said it because Jamie Foxx said it, like everybody picked it up. So definitely a cool experience.
I'm Brian, your Indianapolis realtor. If you are looking to buy or sell a house in the Indy area, I'm your guy. If you're coming from out of state, want to make a move to the Indy area, I'm your guy. Check out the show notes for a link. We can get in touch and get you started. Thanks for watching. Now back to the show.
Pretty fantastic.
Okay, we need help with this show. Can you get Jamie Foxx on for us? He can have any tequila he wants.
I think he has his own.
I was going to say,
He
he's
probably
got
does.
his
He's probably got a celebrity tequila.
own.
You know, it's probably not up there.
Okay, so you went from national speaker about bullying, hanging out with your buddies Jamie Foxx and Nicolas Cage and Wesley Snipes, and now here we are at Mojo Up. Do you still do national speaking engagement?
So I do speak some still. Back in 2016, I wanted to come off the road, and I was speaking. You know, when you're in hotels, rental cars, and airplanes, the family chat dynamics is tough. So my
Yeah, I
oldest
bet.
daughter, who's now 23, in high school, I'm like, I got to be around more. And so I want to come off the road. I'm like, well, what skill do I have now that I've been doing this? Well, the number one skill that I developed over that was marketing. I went back to something that I knew, which I went back to a bank. Worked at Congressional Bank at the time here locally to help them launch a mortgage division towards real estate agents.
Okay.
Because of what they were trying to do initially was all direct to consumer stuff. So I leveraged the skill that I really developed, which was marketing, through that time because the speaking is the easy part. Like that's easy for somebody that does that.
Yeah.
Get on stage for 45 minutes and that's easy.
Sure.
Getting somebody to know who you are, to trust you, to get in front of their audience and give you a check, that's the hard part.
Sure.
Right. So that was the marketing skills that I had to develop. So I leveraged them at the bank to become a VP of marketing and strategy and actually wrote a book for real estate agent.
What?
Yep. I should have brought that. I brought
dang
that.
it. You can mail it to me.
Yeah. I wrote a book for real estate agents and then kind of really worked with agents for the next couple of years on helping them with their marketing strategy through the bank as an add value to real estate agents to work with more.
Very nice.
So,
okay. All right.
Then I hired him as a mortgage person to build my brand and put my entire brand blueprint together.
Okay.
And he helped me in a way that took my meager ability to sell and do mortgages to a great marketing process that really helped build my platform.
Yeah, a lot of times we say most of our clients are great at what they do, just not enough people know how great they are at what they do. So we solve that. We help you build that right message, all the cool creative and website and video, and then put it in front of your ideal client, wow them, and help you grow your business. And so I just leverage what I learned to do for myself as a speaker. And I paid a lot of money in coaching, training, development to learn it all over the years, but just leverage it to then say, okay, well, how do I start a business? And you guys have done this before, and you probably did this when you started real estate. People are like, hey, if you ever go out on your own, let me know because I'll use you.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what it was. I'm like, man, I didn't really want to be in the mortgage business. I was running a mortgage division. They really needed me at the bank to be more mortgage hands-on. And I just didn't want to do that. I really was in love with marketing and brand building. And so that's why I left the banking situation to start my own company, who this month, depending on when you guys drop this, is 6 years of hanging, scratching, clinging, and trying to hold on to make a small business work. So just excited that I'm still alive in business and trying to thrive.
I'm just glad he hung out the house and teach me how to sell.
So
Absolutely.
let's be clear. I did not teach Brad how to sell.
No.
I taught Brad
Dude.
how to position and think about marketing around the sale. Nobody need to tell Brad how to
Oh
sell.
gosh, no. So Mojo Up marketing company, but you also have a podcast, I believe.
Yeah, so I dabble a little podcast dabbling. It's funny. I was talked to Brad into like, hey, you got to have a podcast years ago around mortgage stuff, and I launched one about a couple years ago called Diverse and Talented, and the whole idea was, I wanted to help dispel the myth from a minority perspective that you could be both diverse and talented. Like you don't have to choose between those two things. And so, for 50 plus episodes in about an 18-month period. I interviewed a bunch of successful Black and brown business owners, executives in the Indianapolis area, just telling their stories of like, they got there because of how smart, sharp, and talented that they were as executives.
Cool.
So that was a passion project for me as well, but also was a very strategic business move for where our company was and what we were talking about in that space of diversity, which I understand is taboo in today's market, but that was our stance. Like we can be diverse, and from a marketing company, that's really, in my opinion, still what you want. You don't want somebody that has a very narrow-minded perspective. You want a whole group of people that probably don't think like you, that are different ages, they're different race, the different, female and male, different, experiences in life. Because if that's your client, and you need that representation, and that's who we always strive to be, was a voice that can be so well-rounded that we could be the best marketers out there.
No, I don't think it's taboo in today's market. I think it's expected in today's market. I think we expect to deal with a diverse amount of people. Like I know in my business, as a mortgage guy, I talk to all kinds of people all the time, right? And I never know who I'm going to talk to next. And it's not a decision in my business. It's whoever calls, right?
Yeah.
Whoever that realtor says, hey, give this person a call. And I have a diverse background of realtors as well, from in all ways, right? From social, economically, from where they are, color, race, age. I mean, I still have some of those realtors that call me and go like, hey, Brad, are you still in the mortgage business?
Are you still?
You're still alive?
You're still doing?
Right. I've been, so I don't know. I think it's, I know what you're talking about, but I think it's expected. I think we live in a diverse world and we expect that world to be that way.
I think you're fair to say some people may. I think that coming from the position that I come from our business and fighting for business out there, especially corporately. So our agency now, we deal with small business, nonprofit, but we also play in the corporate space with major
corporations.
The biggest companies in this state happen to be some of our clients. And the only way that happened, though, was because at one point in time, many of them had an opportunity to bring in diverse businesses to give you a shot. So you got a chance to then go prove your worth or your value, which a lot of times you just don't get the chance. And so we've been blessed to get some of those chances, and been blessed to be able to prove some of that there is value in what we do and how we do it, amongst other agencies that do it differently. And so I think that as a business owner, being willing to say we're trying to create a diverse team that has different experiences. Not everybody's actually trying to do that.
You're phenomenal at what you do. You always have been. I've always looked at you as an incredible business person and a great salesperson and a great person. So that's the only way I've ever looked at you, just so you know.
Well, I might need some business help from you guys, because keeping a small business alive in today's environment. I'm sure you guys interview in other small businesses, and from time to time, like, it's tough. And you guys do that in your own way as well, right? It's just
it's supposed to be tough.
It's tough.
It's supposed to be, right? I mean, think about it.
More of us doing it.
Yeah, so you and Brian and I don't have as long a history right? To say that you and I are both entrepreneurial thinking people. We haven't had a whole lot of jobs, and the jobs that we've had were jobs that gave us the business that we ended up with, right? So you and I have always taken the hard way. And I don't know if you were like me in school, but Brian and I have talked as a teacher. He would have hated me. I spent more time in the hall.
I don't really like him all that much now.
He doesn't. So I've always taken the hard way to figure out how to be me. You've always taken the hard way to figure out how to be you.
Yeah.
And what's made you successful is you.
Yeah, I definitely think that I've taken the hard way. I tell my kids all the time, like, you know, I do believe that formal education has a place, where right now there are jobs that I'm not qualified on paper to go get because I'm a 2-time college dropout.
Mm.
Now, if I had a basket weaving degree, I would then be qualified for many of those jobs and positions. So I try to explain that to my kids, like, especially my oldest daughter's 23, amazing soul who graduated in 2020, went to LA and spent a whole year in LA serving in Compton, Watts, South Central, Skid Row.
Wow.
Then came back to Purdue and was like, hold on a second. I got professors talking about doing what I've already done in the most extreme situations. It was a very hard disconnect. But and through that, she wanted to leave and not get the degree. And I said, but you need to have the piece of paper for just mobility, so that you don't have the ceilings that are limited that I have if I ever wanted to go do certain things.
What does she do?
So she's in human services. So she does two things. One, human service work, but also works with a lot of kids with special needs. Just a gift for sure that she has. And she knows that there's some ceilings now that certain jobs she can't get without the paper, even though she got the experience. And that's a hard thing. And I think our world is starting to get better at that.
I think there's a lot of changes where
I agree.
But
companies are going, oh, wait a minute. I don't need you to have, you've been doing that for 20 years. I don't care that you don't have a bachelor's degree in coffee making.
It's starting to get there, And I think a lot of industries are, and there's some that you should have to have, certain
I think doctors should have that.
Right.
Yeah, doctors, accountants, lawyers. It's the degrees that don't have a chunk of meaning. I've got I don't even know what the degrees are. Sorry, I didn't go.
That's
I
okay.
have 96.8 or 98.6, whatever I'm supposed to have of degrees, and that's it. Sometimes I spike up to 103. But the thing is there's a lot of, yeah, I had it going. There's a lot of people that go to college to go to college. And we've talked about this on this show, especially with a guest we had just not long ago. I made this guy that we had on the show recently. I forget his name. Sorry. He was on the news
Sean.
today with Sean with the Shark Tank.
Oh, no, that was Don.
So he runs a program that makes kids learn differently in school and embraces people like you and me, and has this program that helps entrepreneurs learn in school, right? And when we're all done, you'll probably know who he is. But I told him, I said, don't you think that there is a generational thing where everybody worked in the foundry, everybody worked in the factory, right? Dad went off to the factory and went to work, and the guy that made all the money was the engineer, the accountant, and the doctor. So Dad came home from the factory telling you got to go to college. So what we did as Gen Xers is we sent all of our kids to college. I know you want to be a plumber, but plumbers suck. You have to get a $100,000 school loan and go to college. And all of a sudden now everybody has a college degree that doesn't have a job that fits what they really want to do anyway. And Mike Rowe said it the best just the other day. He said, AI is not coming for the plumbers and the electricians and the ironworkers and the bricklayers. It's coming for the coders. AI is not going to take away that job when your toilet needs to be fixed, or when your house needs to be built, or when your car needs to be worked on.
Fair.
And now you realize, okay, the Gen Zers that I'm doing loans for that are 21 years old trying to buy a house that make 50 grand a year as they're going through electrician school are way better off than some of the millennials that have a degree that work as a barista and owe $60,000 in school loans.
Fair.
And I think it's our fault as parents that went, you don't want to work in the factory like grandpa, you got to go to college. And I'm not anti-college. I got a daughter with a PhD. There's people that should go to college, and there's people like me, people like you, that maybe college isn't our best route.
And there's just a shift.
I was blessed to go on a trip with some people from the chamber. We went to Switzerland to look at Zurich's educational system and their workforce and what they do. They're transformational in doing that, right? Like, you can, if your kid wants to be in landscaping, like they will celebrate that, like there's not the classism that we've already created around what you're doing.
Right.
Versus like, hey, let's have kids that are happy and healthy with passion about what they're doing, not because whether they have the degree or even necessarily how much money that they're making around doing it. And so our Americanized system is not that, right?
Definitely not.
We are, if you don't have a degree and you make money, we still have issues with you many times.
Right.
Let alone kind of what you're talking about, where there's so many industries that just don't need it. I think we've got to get to that point where we can let skills and talent really outperform the business of education, because that's really what we're trying to disrupt, is the business of secondary education.
That's a big business.
Big.
It's a huge business right now. That's really being threatened in a few areas, to make people, wake up. And you speak of the landscaper. I have a buddy that didn't go to college and at 20 years old was running a mower and building a landscape business that recently sold his business for 8 figures.
But there's a point where his friends, family, some people in that were like, hold on, dude.
Cutting grass?
Right, you're a landscaper, you're cutting grass?
Not like, like you're smart, realizing that there's a need, there's an opportunity, you're starting a business, you're fulfilling all these things, and you're being profitable from day one, and you're setting yourself up long term to sell a business that most likely, could be wrong, wasn't the mindset around those people around them versus embracing what we do. And some of that is our own parent ego. Some of it's just our
100%.
as parents.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be able to say my kid is an X, or my kid is a Y, or my kid has gone to this school or this education, right? Like you got a really, really smart kid who has a lot of degrees in education, and you should be proud of that because she chose to do that.
Right.
Right. Versus I think where a lot of people are like, man, I have to get my kids to do something I'm proud of that I can tell everybody that I raised, not letting them live their own life.
That's why Little League parents get mad. They live vicariously through their kid who only wants to play piano and doesn't want to play third base.
I mean, I coach a national, a top 5 national AAU basketball team in the country at 3rd grade. So,
Hey!
we just got off the circuit. We went to Raleigh, we went to Cincy, Miami, Orlando, Kansas City, Birmingham. So, but I gotta ask you this though. Vicariously through your kid, which I've wrestled with this a little bit, because my thought is going, like, part of my job is to give my kid more opportunities,
100%.
things that I did not have, right? And so there is a little bit of dichotomy around, man, I can give them the training or the development or the mindset, all these little things that I didn't have or my dad or my parents couldn't give me. I do want to see them be better. I do want to see them achieve things that I couldn't achieve. I think that's the tough part of it, is as parents, we're like, I do want that for them. And let's be honest, we all want to see our kids excelling at things and be able to cheer for them, root for them. And we want them to feel that level of success. And so because of that, like, we go to some crazy extremes to try to help make that happen. But I'm not so sure that there's not a big piece of that we're supposed to do.
I agree. I mean, my background. I have 3 kids that each one was in their own element, and we celebrated each one of that. But there was one piece that Blake and his racing made me think differently. There were dads that would be at the racetrack yelling at their kid that didn't jump that jump, right? Like a baseball dad yells at their kid for not hitting that pitch, right? Or is scared of the fastball. Don't be scared of the fastball. Step into the fastball, right? I'm looking at my kid telling him to.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
But that's truth, though. Is that not a true thing?
Yes, you're correct.
Step into the fastball. Okay.
Yeah, there's little kids that are afraid of the fastball. They don't want to hit the fastball, right? They're scared of that.
Okay.
But I'm telling my kid to jump a 90-foot double.
You're not doing it.
I'm not jumping that double. And I'd see dads scream and yell at their kids. And one thing you can ask Blake, I yelled at him one time. One time I got really mad at him, and we packed up and drove home, and he cried the whole drive home. And I came back and found out the whole reason I yelled at him was a mechanical reason. So it was my fault. And I said, you love racing, and I love doing what you're doing. I will never do that again. And the next 10, 12, 13 years of racing, he'll tell you, I never. If he didn't want to do something, that's fine. He's the one risking him.
Find that spot as a coach, Dad. I got to find that spot.
Yeah, it's
There's a
tough.
difference though. When my kid did a jump he shouldn't have or did it wrong, he ended up with a broken femur.
That's true.
Right. So ours was a different element of, and that's where I learned on the side of some of these parents that go ape crazy, screaming, yelling, their kid didn't do this, thing. And I'm like, your kid may not even want to be playing that sport. And you're acting like a maniac, right? You're living vicarious through them and they're only playing because you want them to play. And that's where learning, I want my kid to succeed, but how do I do it in a way that I know my kid really wants to do that to succeed? It's a weird fine line as a parent.
I think with my son, my youngest son has just turned 10. We played our first year of national AAU basketball, and we started out with saying, "Hey, you can play like rec, and you don't have to ever practice. You don't have no training. You don't, like just show up and
Go
do
play.
whatever you do." Mom and I will sit in the stands with our coffees and
We'll cheer the same way.
yeah. And then but if you want to play like a local, like a travel thing, then like you probably got to go to a couple of practices and to be able to play on that level, and it costs a little bit more. But if you want to play on this national level at this thing, like you got to train 3 days a week. You got to go to practices. You got to put in time on your own. My issue with him this year, and I had to remember that he was still 9 this year, was the lack of discipline to do those things that he said he was going to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my wife's like, "Well, you don't do the shit you say you're supposed to do when it comes to working out."
You got a hamster. You haven't cleaned his cage in 4 days.
And I'm like, yeah, but I have no more eligibility. I can't.
If I could be there.
I would definitely do it. And so there was a space between like you get to choose what level you play at, but once you choose it, then my job as a dad, forget as a coach because I happen to coach a team. My job as a dad is to make sure that I teach you a little bit about discipline, following through, and putting in the work. Because Brad, one thing I can say about you, I don't know there's a harder working loan officer, mortgage guy in America than Brad, right? That principle has to be developed somewhere, somehow. And the truth of the matter is, for many of us, I don't know a lot about you, my man, but for many of us is our financial situation from how we grew up and the parents' situation, what they couldn't do, we've already solved that. So we now are in those situations. And we're trying to figure out how to get our kids to be as hungry as we were, how to say, "Hey, you got to go do these things that I did, how I learned and how I developed when my kid doesn't have to." One of the coolest things LeBron James said is he said, "I'm so proud of Bronny because he don't have to do this. He don't have to work another day in his life. He's choosing to go do all of these things." And so that's where I'm trying to figure out now from a dad perspective is like, what does the accountability look like, mind you, for a 10-year-old, right? And how do you push them to do the things that they don't even know is what it really takes? I'm in this phase of trying to model that, also trying to show them this is what hard work looks like. Forget basketball or football, but at some point in time in your life, you got to work that hard for your marriage. You got to work that hard for your job, your faith, just life.
All of it.
Right. And so you growing up a lot cushier.
Yeah.
You got a little country club lifestyle that I didn't have.
Yeah, you got a refrigerator in the backseat of the Range Rover. It's awesome.
Things are just different. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, how do you teach that? How do you take all our experiences, things we learned professionally, the shortcomings, the failures that I believe, and this is my faith side of it, is like God didn't try to do those things to me. There was an intent to do it through me. And through me, first and foremost, are my kid.
Right.
And then the rest of the world as well. And so I'm stuck on trying to figure out that dynamic probably more than anything right now.
So how do you recognize the point for your kids that they signed up for something that they actually don't like and it is okay to quit?
Yeah. I think that whole quitting thing, like you can't quit something that you started, I think there's a place for that. And I also think like, why are we still doing this?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right.
Why are we still? And I think it's the ones where parents are like, I'm not going out sitting outside in that weather. I'm not going to one more game. I'm not doing it. You want to quit, Johnny? We out, right?
So this is earlier in life, but my son, when he was like 5 years old, we signed him up for soccer at the YMCA. And my son really doesn't like sports. He's 21 now, never been a big sports guy. And I distinctly remember there was a soccer game, and it was maybe the third game of the season. And halftime, kid comes out, takes his shirt off, and he's just chilling on the sideline. And he's sitting on my lap or my wife's lap, I forget which. And he didn't start the second half because he was chilling. Coach comes over, is like, Will, you want to go back in the game? He's like, no, I'm good. I was like, I packed up my chair and I walked to the car. I'm like, this is bullshit. What are we even doing here? And he didn't want to go back to soccer because he didn't like it. And I remember saying to my wife, why are we doing this to ourselves? He doesn't like this. Why torture us to go and force him to be there? So honestly, we let him quit.
Yeah.
I'm like, the kid's 5. He's never going to remember this. Of course, he gets
does.
a damn trophy at the end of the year. And the joke at our house is, I got this trophy for a season I didn't even complete. Like, man, we're not even talking about that.
We did it for baseball.
Oh, yeah.
We'd go to baseball. I was always late, trying to leave the freaking office to get to this baseball game to watch Blake sit in the outfield and pick grass. Like, literally just sit down. Like, go in there and sit down. And they're like, you're up, Blake. It's your turn to hit. And he's like, you want to go? Like, I don't care. I don't want to go. And I asked him one day, I said, do you like baseball? He's like, no, you signed me up for it. Because he said he wanted to play, right? And he hated it.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what I hate more than you hating baseball? Is me having to come here watching you hate baseball.
So he quit.
Now, he did not get a trophy.
No,
Because
that's good.
we quit. We didn't go back for the trophy. But yeah, it was. But when he played football, he loved football. And, you know, he wanted to play football and he played football. And up until the coach made him choose between motocross and football. So, but my daughter played sports. My youngest son never played sports, had no interest in sports ever.
Yeah.
So,
And I just feel, maybe back to your question, is the fine line. Like, at some point, when does it become we let them quit because it's not going to matter versus you can't quit things that you have agreed to do? And I just going back to my story, my son was 5. Who the hell cares what a 5-year-old does with soccer? I truly believe that as they get older, there has to be a point where you committed to doing this. You're going to finish this after the season. If you never want to do this again, I don't care. But your level of commitment needs to be, this is what I signed up to do.
And I agree with you 100%. That's like my wife and I, we're saying the same thing, right? Then you got to ask, but why?
Yeah.
Right.
Because like the truth is, like, we quit as adults. We quit a lot of shit.
we quit a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
That's why there's divorce court. I mean, we quit a lot of stuff.
But the whole idea of like, this is not worth my time, energy, or talent. And I think the bigger thing is we're trying to say, like, we're trying to teach them that there are some shit in life you just can't quit.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, if you don't have that type of fortitude to stick through it, and that's what we're all scared of, right? That our kids aren't going to be tough enough or resilient enough to stick through the things that matter,
Right.
because we've always let them quit.
Yeah. For
Right.
sure.
And then there's a regret. Like my oldest daughter's 23, wasn't really an athlete. She had a glimpse of playing some volleyball. She went out for, there was 10 kids that made it out of 40 or 56 in 7th grade. They happened to be really good.
Wow.
She doesn't make that team. She's the 12th person. And it's kind of like, yeah, I'm good. Now here's the flip side of the story. So she's like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Right? Let her quit. She never played any of their sports the rest of high school, found her passions in other places. But now I would say, I wish you would have like forced me to stick with it and do it. And now you kind of have that side of it. Like, yeah, I should have. Right?
Yeah, but we helped you make the decision you wanted to make. There is a part of learning that the decisions you make are the decisions you make. What we're trying to teach our kids in not quitting is to really learn what commitment to other people means.
Yeah.
Right. When I say that I'm going to do something as a business person, if I say that I'm going to call you at that time, I'm going to call you at that time. If I say that I'm going to do this deal for you, I'm going to do it. If you say you're going to come there and you're going to speak, you don't not show up because you don't feel like it. You made a commitment in what you're doing. I think that's what we're trying to teach our kids.
It's more about character than it
Right.
is being a good baseball player,
But there is
whatever.
a point where you're like, I'm going to eat a peanut butter sandwich every day. And day 4, you're like, I really hate peanut butter. I probably shouldn't make you do that.
That's fair.
Right? And I think that's what we do with some sports and lots of things in life. It's not just sports. We tell people, you can't quit. And at the same time, you come home and look at your wife and go, I cancel my gym membership.
Yeah.
Yes, about today.
Yeah, it's about money.
Exactly. Right? It's like, okay, wow. I can't model this perfection of never quitting. I can't model this, but what I can model is coming through with the commitments that they make to other people.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what we're trying to teach.
Well, thanks for joining us here on Parent Happy Hour.
Hell yeah, dude.
Okay, I actually want to get back to something I'm thinking about. You said you had a podcast where you did about 50 episodes. Is there still a podcast or what?
Mojo Up Live, Diverse and Talented, it lives out there, so people can go watch
Okay.
all those episodes. When we got rid of our office at November of 2024, we went remote. And it was going to change our whole business model to a bunch of staff, to some contract stuff. One of the biggest reasons why I did that podcast was I did it in our office in person. And it's really to highlight the stories of the individuals, but also our video production.
Okay.
So what we really known for
Makes sense.
is our video production. So when I would bring an executive, and I'm talking CEOs of major corporations here in the city, to our physical office to meet us, look us in the eye, see our people, it elevated their belief in who we were.
Absolutely.
And then they walked into a podcast where you had, all these lights, 3 cameras, all these people working, and it was
a bar behind you?
No bar.
No, okay.
This may have helped.
We did not have this in the office, right? Now, if they were sending it to me, like free like that, I might have done that.
Hey, absolutely.
Hey, I buy a lot still.
But it was very purposeful.
That makes sense, yeah.
Right. So then I did launch a second one when we went remote, just kind of trying it, the whole Sports Center split screen. We used Riverside. And I just didn't love it the same. I really loved sitting down with people, hearing their stories, asking those questions, putting them on the hot seat and doing, cool rounds. I really enjoyed that from a podcast host. The online, I just didn't. It just felt very in person.
And Brad has done both. For me in this show, we've only ever done it live here in the bar studio. Brad obviously does his tequila show with people remote. Do you have any thoughts?
I have to. I'm talking to people that are in Mexico, that live in Guadalajara or live in Tequila Randas. So
thoughts on in-person versus remote?
I love the in-person. And I've had a couple of brand owners. One, Peter Kiley, who owns Pedro Fortiva and also Monday Night Brewing. He was in town for that big beer convention that was going on. And he's like, I can't come to Indianapolis and not bring a tequila and sit at your bar. And it was so cool to do that with Peter right here in office or in the bar. Brett Glaze, who's part owner in Hiatus Tequila, which is right here in Indianapolis as well, has come right here and sit down. I'm really excited about having Dominique, who's the owner of Maxwell Park Tequila, to come do that too. So there is a element of in person, but if you're able to get the person to answer questions and dive into sharing their real passion behind what they do, and you can get that engagement with that person online, I feel that I get a lot of views on those too and a lot of comments. So, I just had Chef John DeRosier, the owner of Cambio Tequila's video came out today. Leading chef in Chicago, lives in Chicago, has Cambio Tequila, which is amazing. His ability to convey what he's doing with his tequila and how he makes it, and then his ability to explain that process. You're not going to like it if you like watching the Golden Girls, but you're going to dig it if you're a tequila person and you really want to learn about it, because his ability to share it was so good. And I don't think it would have been a lot different in person, honestly.
For me, it is, I think the shows were still good and valuable content, information, and storytelling. I just didn't.
You didn't get as much out of it.
Personal.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, some people would rather sit at home and watch the game, and some people want to sit courtside, right? I'm the courtside.
Oh, I'm that home watching it on TV.
Right? And I want to sit there and be in the action. Now, if I'm not sitting courtside, yes, I want to sit at home. But
I only want to be in a suite.
It's a different experience. And I really like that. Even this, I think if we had done this today, it'd have been fine. It would have been fine. But I wouldn't have got to meet you, reconnect to you,
right?
Feeling like this space has even some meaning for how we've met and known each other for all these years. So it's just that level of and that level of personal touch. I think in person has always been that for me. Even go back to sales, right? I mean, I remember somebody early on taught me, like, listen, I'm gold. I'm gold I'm gold on the phone, but I'm platinum in person.
Yeah.
Right. If you can make your biggest pitch, like I always still wanted to do that. If I have an opportunity now, I will drive wherever to be face to face with somebody to make that pitch versus trying to do it over Zoom.
You know what's crazy now? I'm gold in email, but I'm platinum on the phone, right? Because now they definitely don't want to meet you. and
They may not want to meet you.
it's probably me, but in the mortgage world,
Personal.
you know, we don't have to do it in person. It's all done online. And you know, how many people go, oh, can I just fill out a loan application, you know, online?
Yeah.
Well, no, let me do that for you. Cause I can talk to you. We used to say this back in the day. Who'll remember this saying? Travis and I were both, we both were good. We gave good phone. Is that not true?
Yep.
My boy can give good phone, right?
Outstanding.
That sounds really
But it's true, because when you can connect with somebody personally on the phone, that's where you build that relationship. And we used to do it in person. They used to have to come to the office and sit down and fill out a loan
We
application
used to sell those deals on the phone to get you in
to
the
come in.
office,
Right.
And so we developed the skill set of being able to smile and dial and be on the phone. And
Right.
we used to pull out the phone book and be like, all right, I'm sorry.
The phone book's a thing that was big and had people saying
Bro,
numbers in it.
1973. I'm well
No,
aware.
Like without, but still though, you know, if you had to sell a big deal, and this goes back to like I got in Brad's car. We drove to a gas station and watched him sign a deal
Oh my.
on the side of the road at gas station.
That's how we had to do it back in the day.
That's how old school it was, right? Because you had to have real ink.
Meeting at McDonald's. Remember, you go, what's the closest McDonald's to your house?
Dang.
Yeah.
Oh wow. All right. Well, Travis, thanks for being here. I
Hey,
know
well,
you're.
not a very good. I mean, I don't
I
eat
know.
much beer, but like I'm out.
I know.
This is his third show.
Fair.
That's true.
Fair.
All right.
And
well,
my drive is just up those circle stairs.
that's
So I'm
right.
good.
Well, I'll just say, you know, we'll do that anyways. Thanks for being here today. It was
Cheers.
a pleasure meeting
Thank you, brother.
We'll see you next time on Indiana Success Happy Hour. Cheers.
It's Brian and Brad, grab your seat. Real talk served with a boozy beat. Tune in, don't even blink, 'cause real estate makes us drink.